Julie Reynolds, Summervillehousewife, out here at where else? Coastal Coffee Roasters, and it is hot, but it's so appropriate for who my guest is today. And I'm going to let him introduce himself and tell you where he works.
Yes, it is hot, but I guess for a meteorologist, this is our kind of weather. I'm Rob Fowler. I'm the chief meteorologist at Channel 2, WCBD TV in Charleston, and just happy to be here in Summerville talking to you, Julie. And coming up in September will be my 39th anniversary at Channel 2.
Wow, so congratulations.
Thank you. I came here in 1987 with a 4-year contract, and that's what we do. We sign contracts for a certain amount of time. And then 2 years into that contract, something happened that we all remember, and that was Hurricane Hugo. And after Hugo, Channel 2 came to me and said, we'd like to extend your contract. And it was a no-brainer. I felt so connected to this community. I felt like we had a lot of unfinished business to kind of dig ourselves out from Hurricane Hugo. So, 3 years became 5, 5 became 10, 10, 15. We made friends. Our kids were born. They made friends. And almost 39 years later, we're still here.
How did you pick News 2, though? What was the process for that?
Yeah, this is interesting. So I'm a Southern boy. I grew up in Atlanta. I was born in New Orleans. We moved to Atlanta when I was a child, and that's where I grew up. And so I went to Georgia Southern, at that time college, now university. I had an internship in Savannah. When I graduated, a TV station in Savannah offered me a job, which I took. And then I stayed there for about 3.5 years. Then I went to Green Bay, Wisconsin. That was my second job. And that's all because we have consultants in our business, and a consultant saw my work and said, a station in Green Bay needs a meteorologist. And I said, okay. I wasn't quite sure what I was doing. It's much colder up there, but I know God sent me there for a reason, because after I got there, I saw a cute girl in the hallway carrying some videotapes, and she dropped them. I helped her pick it up and asked her out for lunch.
I hope that was the wife.
Oh, yes. There's a good end to the story. And yes, and coming up in December, we'll be married 39 years. So I found my wife up in Wisconsin. But after 2 years, Julie, in the cold, and I love the people up there, salt of the earth, but that was not the kind of climate that I really was used to. And I went to the library, and this is back in the day, there was a magazine called Broadcasting. Now it's Broadcasting and Cable. But at the back of that magazine, there were classified ads, stations looking for talent. So I went to the library in Green Bay. I picked up the Broadcasting that was on the shelf, and I saw chief meteorologist in a beautiful South Carolina coastal city looking for help, a talent. And I thought, oh man, this is perfect for me. I know Charleston. I worked in Savannah. I know the weather. I turned it over, and the magazine was about 6 months old. I said, there is no way that job is still open. But I made a call anyway. And the news director, who was at Mike Sullivan, he said, Rob, listen, we're doing another search. We didn't find anybody in our first search, so the job is still open. Send your tape. I'm going on a cruise. When I get back, I'll look at it. He got back from the cruise. He looked at my tape, called me. They flew me down. They put me up at the Lodge Alley Inn, Julie, on East Bay Street. I remember calling Cara after we did some interviews, and I said, if they offer me this job, I'm going to take it. And that's how I got to Charleston, and all by the grace of God. And I fell in love with this community. Summerville has been very good to me and my family, and Channel 2 and Mount Pleasant, where we live. It's just an amazing place to live.
39 years. You've got...
I started when I was 12, too.
You've got some stories.
Oh, yes.
So what is that like, Rob? Maybe... Can you go back, like the first time that you actually put the mic on and go, okay, here we go?
Well, I remember when I was in Savannah, I was petrified. This is back in the day when we didn't have these fancy computers we have now. So we had to literally set up a weather map, a magnetic weather map. Let's say we had put sunshine symbols, magnets on the map. And that was very cumbersome, but that was back in the early days. And then, when I got to Charleston, I had about seven years of experience, so I was somewhat experienced at that point, but had never been a chief meteorologist. So the bottom line is I had to learn along the way. And when Hugo came, I'm not going to sit here and say that I knew all the answers and I knew exactly what to do. I was, like everybody else, in shock, flying by the seat of my pants, but it really helped me understand how to handle a situation like that.
Was that the first hurricane you've ever dealt with?
The biggest one by far, except that, like I said, I was born in New Orleans and I lived there the first 7 years of my life. And in 1965, when I was a 5-year-old child, I went through a hurricane called Hurricane Betsy. And Betsy was my first hurricane. And as a 5-year-old child, I remember this like it was yesterday, because I had a job that night. My grandparents gave me a job because we went to my grandparents' house. Their house didn't flood as bad as our house did. And they said, put dry towels under the door to try to keep the water from coming in the house. And I remember doing that and just absolutely being petrified. But it opened up the avenue of, what the heck is going on? What's a tropical storm? What's a hurricane? Why do these things happen? And that kind of started me on my journey.
So let me ask you this, and I know this is off the cuff, and you're going to go, what is she asking me? But when you're there, Rob, okay, so like you're on air, and people are watching you, and all of a sudden you hear somebody in your ear tell you, here comes a tornado through the town. How do you not go, oh my gosh, there's a tornado. Oh my gosh, I know people there. I mean, how do you keep it together?
You know, that's hard. That's a great question, because I live here too. And if a tornado or a hurricane is coming, it's going to impact me and my family just like it does the viewers we're talking to and who are listening.
Is there a secret though to that?
You know,
keep your composure?
I think Hugo just taught me so much. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm not churning inside, but you try to keep a calm demeanor, because when you have been here for a while, and Charleston's lucky enough to have meteorologists who have stayed a long time, people start to understand the message you're trying to convey and how you convey it. If they sense that I'm anxious and there's a lot of anxiety, that's going to kind of move right through the TV to them. So you have to try to keep it on the low as possible, as much as you possibly can. It's not easy, but you have to get that
because I've
message.
seen people, pull up their sleeves and things start coming out, and it's like, oh no, we're like really paying attention. Or like for me, like if I'm in the closet, y'all say, go to the closet.
Right.
I'm in my closet.
Right.
And I'm listening. I'm really paying attention to your words. And what is that like too, Rob, that people are depending on you to get it right and to protect them? How's that feel?
I think probably one of the highest compliments I've ever been paid, when people come up and say, Rob, we can see it in your eyes, we can hear it in your voice. And what that means is over the years, they've trusted you to a certain point where they know if they need to take the next step. They know, Julie, if they need to go to the closet or the bathroom or in the pantry and put as many walls between you and the outside of the house as possible. So it's a lot of responsibility, but we don't take it lightly. We take it very seriously. And that's why when we do have to, what we call cut in, when you're watching Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy on Channel 2 and you see us break in with a severe weather bulletin, an update, we have to take that seriously. And I know Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy.
So important.
It is.
I mean, you're saving lives, and people depend on you, especially now. But Rob, how about the technology of things for 39 years?
Yeah, let me tell you, here's a great example. When Hugo came through, we were using a radar. It was called a WSR 57. WSR stands for Weather Service Radar. 57 stands for 1957. So we were using an antiquated radar when Hugo came through. Now we have the whole new Doppler system where we have mucho colors that we can show, and each one signifies the intensity of the rain. We can look inside that storm to see if there's rotation. It's just amazing. And I do it every day. And I know there's an old running joke, I wish I had a job where I could still get paid and only be right half the time. But the bottom line is I've done it, I've seen the technology increase, I've seen the forecast get better. Keep in mind, when Hugo came through, we gave a 3-day forecast, actually, 72 hours where that storm would go. And we were within 300 miles of a point, let's say at day 3. Now we're doing 5 days out, and we're probably 150 to 200 miles north, south, east, and west of a point. So our accuracy has improved over a time that's been lengthened somewhat. So I've seen it, I've lived it. I'm amazed sometimes when I look at the radar, our forecast radar, and it says at 3 o'clock we're going to get this thunderstorm in this area. And it happens. Doesn't happen all the time, but it's enough where you say, okay, I have confidence in that computer model.
What about, let's shift it a little bit, what about AI technology? How's that playing a part right now?
Oh, it's a big player in our business now. And the Google AI is a model that really came into play last year, did a nice job on the Hurricane Center forecasting. I wouldn't say I would use it as a standalone, but I certainly would use it as another tool in the toolbox to say, okay, all these models are saying this, the AI model is saying something similar to that. then our confidence is going to grow. So when we come on TV, we're going to say we feel pretty confident that within 72 hours, 24 hours, whatever it might be, we're going to see this hurricane on the doorstep. But this is only the tip of the iceberg. But I wouldn't use it as a standalone right now, because it's pulling data from other places, but I certainly would use it as another tool.
I don't like it, because I'll ask my Alexa, I'll say, is it rain tonight? Absolutely not, and it's pouring. And then I've
Right.
seen other videos, the same people, and they make fun of it or whatever. So I do prefer people with knowledge like you. So I appreciate that, because I don't trust it very often. Okay, what about how have you seen the weather change over the years?
Yeah, I don't think there's any question that the temperature is getting warmer. I mean, with more development, basically you're creating more heat island effects where, the buildings are holding on to the heat. We're actually clearing big spaces of green space and putting asphalt parking lots. And I understand, listen, I'm for development. I understand the development. I think here in this area, Summerville, Mount Pleasant, other areas too, they're doing a good job managing the green space and the development. But that's obviously going to change the temperature around. Global warming definitely is happening. I don't think you can blame everything on global warming. I think there's a natural cycle to a lot of weather instances like hurricanes. It's very cyclical, whether you have active seasons or not as active, usually about 2 or 3 decades. But yeah, it's something we need to keep an eye on, because number one, we live on the ocean. And if these ice caps are melting and sea level is rising, that's going to create some issues. Personally, what I've seen, there are some places that flood now that I've never really heard of before flooding as much as they do. But post 2015, October 2015, when Shadow Moss flooded, there's a place called Church Creek that's now a landmark. When the National Weather Service sends out a bulletin, they said, hey, we're monitoring Church Creek. Before this, I'd never even heard of Church Creek. But now these places that are flooding, and a lot of the people that live there say because they put a shopping center down the street, and now all of a sudden that runoff is occurring and it's running off into our neighborhoods.
What's next for you?
For me personally?
Yes.
Oh gosh, that's a great question. A lot of people still, now I've been here for a while, they're asking me, when are you going to retire? And I have a stock answer. And when a second grader comes up and says, my grandfather said you came to his class to talk about weather, that might be a time to, check the box. But I have 5 grandkids, Julie. My wife has been amazing through this whole journey with me. And, I want to spend more time with them. So I don't know what the future holds. I feel like I'm in good health. I still love what I do. I love the place I do it. I love the people I work with.
You still look the same, and we all know it. That's just a fact.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate that. And but we'll see. I mean, I'm gonna have to slow down eventually. But right now, I don't see any big plans of. I can't say I'm going to retire at this time. I'm just going to let nature take its course and let God decide. Okay, Rob, it's time to step away. But I do know that I'll probably start pulling back on some of my main responsibilities. I won't give up school visits. I love those. But maybe a few other things that I'm doing on the side. I'm going to say, no. And listen, Channel 2 has been amazing. For instance, I never really got to trick or treat with my kids when they were younger because I was usually working. And my bosses had come to me and said, Rob, go trick or treat with your grandkids. I know you want to. And they said, just go. And when you have the bosses who are supporting you that way, it's hard to say, okay, I'm done tomorrow, because they've been so accommodating with what I really want to do, and that's spend more time with my kids and ultimately grandkids too.
You touched on doing those other things, because the ARC and when you do the bidding thing. Yes. I mean, about those, because you do a lot of things. I mean, what are other stuff? People don't really understand that you were all over.
Well, you literally, sometimes I may leave the house at 7 or 8 in the morning and don't get home till midnight. And I'm not a martyr. I enjoy doing it. And then weekends too. We have a lot of auctions that we're a part of. We have a lot of galas that we're a part of. I think I've been blessed so much with the opportunity to have a platform, if you will. And I lost my mother-in-law to Alzheimer's. And so the Dancing with the Arc Stars means so much to me personally. My wife is a breast cancer survivor, so breast cancer means so much to me personally. So there are a lot of things that I've picked out that I said, you know what, I'm going to put my arms around this, and anything they need, I'll help them out, whether it be the auctioneer or emceeing a gala or just showing up and being there, walking in a walk. I mean, I think that's our responsibility to help out, and especially being touched by that. I know you've been touched, losing a daughter. I mean, I can't even imagine that at a young age, but but you're doing exactly what I think God is telling you to do, and that is be an advocate and
Thank you.
being a person that's walked this walk and gone through this journey, that maybe your words can help somebody else.
Rob, what about describe yourself as a person other than the weatherman?
Oh gosh, I've always lived by the golden rule. I think I'm a pretty nice guy. I try to treat everybody with respect, and that's the way I've lived my entire life. My parents were great about that, and I think I've just tried to carry that on and instill it in my kids, and hopefully they're doing that into their kids, my grandkids. But try to be nice. I mean, I know it's hard sometimes because you don't feel well and something's got rubbed you the wrong way, but there's nothing wrong with saying hello and good morning to somebody. You don't know what they've been through. Everybody has a story, and I think if you can be nice and just greet them, maybe just that greeting will change their day, and that's what it's all about, because people have changed mine.
What about, okay, let me ask you one more question before we end this. What advice would you have for the upcoming people that are interested in being a weatherman and coming up behind you?
I'll be honest with you. I don't want to sugarcoat it. Our business has changed. I mean, we're having to wear a lot of hats now. And this is all I've ever wanted to do since I was a kid. I loved the TV, the radio, the broadcasting side. And as I mentioned, going through Hurricane Betsy, I started loving the weather side too. So I wanted to combine the two. You got to work hard, come in with a great attitude, because you're going to be asked to work some strange hours and weekends and holidays. We're, in the news business, we are 24/7, 365. Christmas is a news day for us. We know it's a special day, but also we do news on Christmas Day. We do news on Labor Day and Memorial Day and all these other holidays and 4th of July. So it's you get to meet so many nice people. You get to tell stories, and you get to make a difference. And that's why I encourage people to continue to get into this business. But just know that with the business model changing a little bit, there's going to be some hard work, and there's going to be some wonky hours you're going to have to work early in the morning, late at night. But I guarantee you, if you climb that ladder, you're going to be so proud of yourself for doing it, hanging in there, and making a difference in the community that you serve.
Any grandchildren maybe in the weather industry maybe?
It's funny because my oldest, Ro, he was my junior meteorologist for a while, but now Addie, my oldest granddaughter, she wants to call me every day and tell me what the weather is. But what's interesting is she only wants to call when the weather's stormy. Like one day she called and said, "Papa, it's not stormy," and then kind of hung up the phone, Then Reed, my second grandson, I just spoke to his class recently. He's getting into the weather too, and I think the other two will as well. So it's probably, for me, a shining moment and a proud moment is when my kids have videoed their kids for the first time looking at the TV, pointing and saying, "Papa, Papa," when they recognize that the guy on TV in that box is actually their papa. And everyone has videoed the ones that could do it, and they send it to me, and it just melts my heart.
Okay, I'm sweating. He's keeping his composure over there.
I'm more in the shade, I think.
Is there anything that I didn't ask you or that you would like to share or say right now to anybody that's watching?
Whatever job you're in, young kids, just work hard. If you want to get into meteorology or broadcasting, it's a lot of fun. And just be kind. We do Toys for Tots every year, and we go out, and when we go out, we always have a saying: this is a no judgment zone, because you don't know what people have been through.
That's really big for you.
It is big. It is. This will be, I think, my 40th year. And it started out, we had about 30 volunteers that went on Christmas morning all over the place, and now we have 300 volunteers that show up on Christmas morning at the convention center, and we go out in teams. And this is in addition to the Marines, who've already given out, let's say, 90,000 toys through their regular process. The toys we give out on Christmas morning are extra stories that maybe the police know about. They know about a family in their school, the school resource officers who didn't ask for help and need help. So we'll go to their house and we surprise them. And that's amazing. It's really very rewarding. And I always tell parents, I said, bring your kids, because I guarantee you, because my kids came when they were young, it will completely change their perspective about what Christmas is all about.
Look, I really do appreciate your time. I appreciate the travel all the way over from News 2 all the way over here to Summerville today. And from Rob, we're going to go because he has weather to broadcast. I had people to talk to, but we'll see you guys later.
Take care.
Bye.